Good evening. You're listening to Myth and Mist, your one-stop podcast for killers, thrillers, and chillers of the Pacific Northwest. I'm Haley.
And I'm Genevieve.
Thanks for tuning in tonight.
Do you want to hear about something that happened to me last week?
Mm-hmm.
I was attacked by a crow.
Tell me more.
So that's spooky, right?
Yeah.
So I normally love crows. I used to feed them every weekend. Saturday and Sunday when I would open for brunch, I would always start by like putting some food out for the crows, and they'd wait for me to put it out, and then they'd come down and eat, and it was like very respectful. And when I first got Glue and I lived in that neighborhood in Southeast, we would walk around and I would always have dog treats for him, and so sometimes I'd like throw some to the crows and we were chilling. But I feel like either they're mad at me that I don't work at Scavone's anymore, so I don't feed them, or word has traveled that I'm like the bitch that feeds the crows, and so now these random crows that I don't know are like, "What's up, bitch? You got food? Give me some food." And so I was walking Glue, and this couple of crows were like flying like really close to my head, and they would like fly by and then kind of just like perch in a tree and like watch us go. And I was like, "Are you guys begging for food?" And then they would like fly a little bit closer, and at one point one of the wings like kind of like brushed my ear, and I was like, "Whoa." But like I didn't have anything. I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't have anything. Also, you're not my crows. Fuck off." And I literally said, "You're not my crows. Fuck off," and started walking away. And this crow straight up just flies into the back of my head.
Holy shit.
Not enough to like hurt itself or hurt me, but like bonked me on the back of the head.
Enough to like make his point.
Enough to like, and it like enough for me to be like, you know. And then it just flew up in a tree and gave me this bitchy little look. Like,
The crows are up to something.
I was like, it genuinely kind of hurt my feelings, and I got pissed. And it could tell I got pissed because I like grabbed a stick like I was going to throw it. I never would have thrown it, but it didn't know that. And it was like, "Oh shit." And then it like took off and flew across the street. But I was like, and that hurts my feelings. Like, I thought we were cool.
I love this. I'm sad. It sucks that happened to you. But so I've had similar, I've never been attacked, but last winter, and then it started again in the past couple weeks, when I go on my morning walks around the block, one street over, once I get to that street, like I'll just have this like group of crows like flying and following me until I get back to my house. But they scream at me the whole time. And it's a big group of them, and they follow me along about half of a block.
How many crows, if you had to guess?
Anywhere from like probably 4 to 10.
Oh, that's a lot. That's, yeah. You know, a group of crows is called
murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last year, I remember walking by. It's like I've went back and forth on how I feel about it. Like I've like been kind of scared. I've been amused. I've been like kind of excited, like kind of feeling like a witch. But I remember last year walking by a neighbor's house when they were outside, and they mentioned it, and they were like, another person who wears a similar coat feeds them, so they might think that you're him. And that made sense to me. I never fed them, but somebody does. But then again this year, like if I'm wearing a different coat or not wearing a coat, they still have been following me. And it feels targeted because if I'm with Jordan and our dogs, they don't do it. But if I'm by myself...
Interesting.
Yeah. But I've never been attacked. They've stayed above me, and they just scream at me. It's so loud.
See, these crows didn't say shit.
Weird.
They just bonked me.
What are the crows up to? What are they trying to do?
Deal? I don't know, but it kind of pissed me off because it took me years to like build this rapport with the Scavone's crows. And, like, they're so respectful and so chill. And, like, when they want food, they just come and they sit on the picnic table and they look in the window. And I'm like, okay. And I go give them their little hard-boiled eggs and their little biscuit or whatever. And they like eat.
A good meal for them.
Yeah, sometimes I give them bacon. I give them whatever. You know, try to figure out what they like the best.
The neighborhood guy just gives them peanuts. Sometimes Jordan will feed them peanuts. But
I don't think there's anything wrong with feeding the crows. I'm just like, I don't love that they're screaming at you. That seems kind of rude. Typically, crows will make noises like when they're trying to alert each other of something. Or have you ever seen a crow funeral? Mm-mm. When one of them dies, like, it's crazy. So many crows will come and they'll just like swarm the dead one and they'll all just like scream. It's called a crow funeral.
Wow.
So it's like mourning.
Yeah.
I think crows are awesome, but the next crow that bops me on the head is gonna get a stern talking to.
Gonna get a stick wagged.
I'll tell you that. I'm gonna sit him down and I'm gonna be like, look, can't do this, okay?
Can't do it.
It's really weird. It feels so weird to be like, for a wild animal to like make contact with you.
It would scare
in such
the
an
shit out of me.
intentional way. It's definitely startled me.
I think a crow could probably kill you. Maybe. Has anyone been murdered by a crow? If you have been murdered by a crow, call in. And
Or
let us
know anyone who has been murdered or at least severely maimed or injured as a result of a crow attack.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or like, if you have any type of crow story,
if you have
interactions,
a crow anecdote.
Mm-hmm. If you have heard of the animal that is called a crow.
If you've ever seen a crow.
Email us.
Send us an email at mythandmistpodcast@gmail.com.
All right. Should we get into
Let's get
tales?
into it. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. I don't believe I have any trigger warnings other than this is a murder case, so I will be discussing murder. I'm excited to talk to you guys about this particular case. It was very strange and interesting for me to learn about. There's also a lot of easily accessible interrogation room and interview room footage that you guys can watch that we will link in the show notes that is very interesting. So, without further ado, let's get down to it. Susan Monica was born July 8th, 1948 in California and grew up just outside of San Francisco. There's little information available on her formative years as Susan was and remains an extremely private person. She did divulge that she was one of 3 children and that her sister was born with Down syndrome. Her sister is believed to have passed away after being placed in a foster home by her mother. She also mentioned being estranged from her brother for many years. Susan was assigned male at birth. She served in the Navy in her 20s during the Vietnam War. After being honorably discharged from the Navy, she transitioned. Following her discharge from the service, Susan found work as a submarine engineer. She was extremely successful with her work, showing a particular strength in mathematics and architecture, even though she never actually obtained a degree in her area of focus. However, in spite of her intellectual aptitude, Susan had problematic opinions that aligned with eugenics and far-right-leaning ideologies. She claimed they were based in logic and science, but the fact was that Susan's tendency to be outspoken on her obviously suspect opinions made it very difficult for her to live in heavily populated society. She grew more and more withdrawn and antisocial. In 1991, she bought a 20-acre farm in Wilmer, Oregon, in an attempt to get away from the crowded city she'd come to resent. Wilmer, Oregon is an unincorporated CPD, or census-designed population, located in Jackson County, Oregon, about 20 miles northeast of Grants Pass. It has a population of about 700 people, situated along Evans Creek, a 35-mile-long tributary of the Rogue River. After relocating, she lived off the grid for a period of years before finally having electricity installed. She was just a rough old woman that was living off the grid, an acquaintance said of her. She started a welding and fabrication business from her home called White Queen Construction. Yes, you heard that right. White Queen Construction. Constructing and installing wrought iron railings and fences. She also raised pigs and chickens in a barn on the property, a barn that served as her living quarters until 2013, when she finally decided to build herself an actual house. Unable to complete such a large-scale job on her own, and getting older, Susan ran an ad for additional labor. She found willing workers at the local mission and unemployment office in neighboring towns. Robert Haney was one of several people she hired to help with various home improvement and construction tasks. Haney was 56 and a father of 4. He lived a fairly nomadic lifestyle, working construction and living out of his camper in between gigs. Though it's unknown how exactly Robert and Susan connected, Susan did offer him employment and allow him and his dog to live on her acreage in his camper for low monthly rent. On January 1st, 2013, Robert's children hadn't seen or heard from their father in months and decided to confront his employer, landlord, Susan Monica, about his whereabouts. She claimed she hadn't seen him in nearly 4 months, that he quit with no notice. He left behind his prized leather jacket, his tools, and his dog. His tools were his livelihood, and his dog was his love, and his kids knew he wouldn't have left them behind. They reported him missing shortly thereafter, disclosing his last known location to Jackson County Police. Police, in turn, investigated Haney's camper, recovering numerous personal items. They questioned Susan, recalling that she was friendly and candid and trying her best to be helpful. Susan disclosed that Haney struggled with alcoholism and that he had been drinking more heavily in the past several months due to a stressful situation regarding his daughter. She claimed that on the night she planned to confront him about his alcoholism, Haney handed her a wad of cash and asked her to, quote, take care of his dog, before getting into a white car and driving off. She assumed he would return, but claimed that that was the last time she saw him. It was her assumption, she said, that he'd gone to confront the person who had wronged his daughter, and things went sour. Although Haney had no checking account or banking information they could use to track his whereabouts, he did have an EBT card connected to his welfare benefits. When investigators tracked the card's last known activity, they found it had been used in December at a Walmart in Grants Pass, 2 months after Susan claimed she'd slain him last. When investigators tracked down the surveillance footage from the Walmart, they were surprised to see not Robert, but Susan making purchases with his card. This piece of evidence was all authorities needed to obtain a search warrant for Susan's property, and she was promptly charged with identity theft and brought in for further questioning. Susan claimed she had been given permission to use the card, but these claims could not be substantiated because, obviously, Robert was not there to either confirm or deny them. Authorities executed a search of the various structures on Susan's farm, documenting their findings. One officer later commented, quote, "It looked like the setting of a low-budget horror film in there." It didn't take long before they stumbled upon a horrific discovery: the remains of a human leg laying amongst a pile of trash and food scraps. An interview was conducted by police, but they did not initially disclose their discovery of human remains on her property. When Susan was finally confronted about the leg, she felt silent. All the confidence and cockiness she'd maintained crumbled like a sandcastle. The exchange went as follows. "Detective, do you think it's kind of strange that there's a leg right next to your place?" Susan: "Very." Detective: "Does it concern you?" Susan: Yes." Detective: "Do you think it might be Robert?" Susan: It could be, but I can't understand why. If it were, I can't understand how it would get there because I can't see him having an accident up by my place." Detective: "How do you think it got there?" Susan. Detective. What's your best reasoning for how it got there? Susan. Coyote? The interview continued. Eventually, Susan proposed that perhaps Robert had come back, inebriated, and fallen into her pig pen. She claimed that though her pigs were friendly, they might eat a human under the right circumstances. She seemed to construct a story on the fly about having discovered Robert, half eaten by her pigs, a week after Robert was reported missing. She claims he was alive when she found him, and that she was forced to shoot him because he was suffering, and she knew he wasn't going to survive given the severity of his injuries. She claims she didn't tell police because she did not want them to harm her pigs. She also claimed that she collected his remains in garbage bags and hid them in the walls of her barn, even going so far as to draw a map so detectives could retrieve them. When the investigator asked, "Is it possible that we might find someone else out there? Or remains from another person on your property? Is that possible?" Susan paused, then offered a chilling answer. "Anything is possible." She was given a polygraph, although oddly enough, the results were inconclusive and unusable. You see, Susan suffered from a sudden violent coughing fit in the midst of the test, and the technician administering it was forced to call it off. This was only further indication to investigators that Susan Monica was neck-deep in something shady, and after another hour of interrogation, she finally came clean. "There is something else that I don't want to say that's just as bad, but it doesn't make sense." "Oh, God, give me another piece of paper." She began to draw a second map. "Right there," she said, "about 3 feet down. There's part of another body." This body would be identified as 59-year-old Stephen Delicino, another handyman Susan had hired to help with maintenance and odd jobs. She claimed he had gone into her room with the intent to steal firearms. She confronted him, at which point he picked up a gun she had hidden behind her pillow, claiming he refused to go back to jail, and shot 5 rounds into his own head. She said she went to go lay down for a few hours, having been traumatized by the ordeal, only to wake and discover that her pigs had once again managed to find Stephen's body and were, once again, eating it. This was the first version of several Susan would claim in the course of her arrest and the trial that followed. At one point after her arrest, she was asked if she would tell police if she had killed someone else and disposed of their body elsewhere on her property, to which she responded, "Of course not. Why should I? The cat's out of the bag. If I tell you there are 17 bodies out there, I'm going to be in jail for the rest of my life." Over 136 holes were dug on Susan Monica's property after the discoveries of Robert Haney and Stephen Delicino. No other human remains were ever found on her property. On April 15th, 2015, Susan Monica went on trial for murder. She pleaded not guilty to both murder charges, now claiming that she had killed Stephen Delicino in self-defense. Offering a completely different account of the events, Susan's new story had Stephen pull a gun on her after she confronted him for theft, forcing her to shoot him in fear of her life. Susan said she shot Stephen once in the head, but that the shot didn't kill him, and he chased her into the barn where she shot him again and fed him to her pigs. There was no evidence to support any of this most recent story. After only an hour of deliberation, the jury found Susan Monica guilty on all counts. She was sentenced to life in prison, with a minimum time served of 50 years, making her eligible for parole at the age of 115. Karen Denman, Susan Monica's neighbor, was asked how she felt following Susan's arrest. "She just trashed the place. She trashed herself," she said. "She trashed the people she was around. She trashed our lives. You know, there's some people out there that are never going to recover from it. I'm not sure I ever will, but at least I'm alive.
Damn, that woman is a problematic, fucked up hoot. And she has some very well-fed pigs.
Unfortunately, the pigs were euthanized because they needed to perform autopsies on them to check their stomach contents for human remains, and they did find quite a lot of human remains.
That's so fucked up.
Yes. That is the I mean, it's a huge bummer that these two men lost their lives, but also these two pigs were literally just eating what was put in front of them.
Yeah, they didn't know.
They were pretty innocent bystanders, I think. I just think that it's hilarious that this woman is like, hey, so I've got this problem. I keep walking in and finding my pigs eating people. It's the darndest thing. Like,
and I love how, like, she was like, she just needed a little rest after blowing some guy's head off.
Oh, no. She watched him. In that version, she watched him blow his head off. And then she was like, I gotta go lay down. So she goes, she takes a nap. When she wakes up, his body has somehow gotten from the bedroom to the pig pen.
Makes
so
sense.
I'm like, did the pigs knock? Hello? Come in, drag him out, take him back to the pig pen, and then start to eat him like 5 minutes before she got up? Also, why would you get up and immediately be like, I just saw a man kill himself. I'm going to go to the pig pen. She's clearly a very intelligent woman, but this shit is not smart.
I also very smart to have a coughing fit in the middle of your lie detector test.
Oh yeah, you can watch it happen.
Take notes.
You can watch it happen. Largely the whole interrogation is available for you to watch online, and it's really funny because they hook her up and she's fine. She's already sat through like 12 hours of interview, just not coughing. They hook her up. The person running the test starts asking the questions, and within seconds, she just is like having a fit.
So far, it looks pretty good. As long as you breathe normally and don't take too many deep breaths, nothing like that.
And cough.
Cough. Now's a good time to get that done.
Yes.
She like can't catch her breath. She's having an absolute coughing. It's like she caught consumption in like the span of 30 seconds.
Wow.
And eventually the guy's just like, okay, I guess let's just not like.
And then she was magically okay.
And then after that, they take all the stuff off of her, and the detective comes back in, and she's not coughing anymore. It's just so. Oh, maybe if I cough, they won't know that I did it. Like, crazy. It's also crazy for a trans woman to commit murder is so rare.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. Most murders are committed by white men. Mm-hmm. So this case is like very baffling to me. I'm really curious.
It was a wild one. What year did it happen, did you say?
2013.
Okay, so not
long ago. Yeah.
Did it make national news? It's a wild story.
I don't think it did make national news. I think it made a lot of local news, but I think had more bodies been discovered on her property, it probably would have made national news, but because they only recovered 2 victims, technically she is still a serial killer. But it doesn't bear the weight of someone like John Wayne Gacy, where they just kept pulling out body after body after body after body after body, or Jeffrey Dahmer, or, I don't know. I feel like for it to make national news, there has to be like a bigger head count, unfortunately.
I feel like it would make a good movie.
I think so too. I would love to see a phenomenal trans actress play her and just like knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
She has very specific mannerisms. She's really interesting to watch because she starts out so clearly confident that she's just going to be able to like work this cop over because he's dumb, which he probably is, honestly. But
Jackson County Police.
yeah, it does not work. And you can see her growing more, like trying different tactics throughout. Like she gets emotional at some point and then she like, oh, I can't remember. And then she does the coughing thing. And then she like, it's like she works every angle.
She really tried it all.
Yeah. And then when that doesn't work and it goes to trial, she's like, oh, wait, I forgot. It was self-defense.
It was the pigs.
Yeah.
It was the pigs all along.
She still went to trial saying, nope, I didn't kill that first guy. That was all the pigs, man. I didn't have anything to do with that. They did recover like cleanly severed body parts as well. So I'm like, all right, well, obviously somebody dismembered. You think the pigs are back there with cleavers like doing this?
When we choose our topics, we kind of pick broad topics that are like somewhat related, but we don't listen to each other's stories until like we read them to each other here. But I love how similar our stories are this time. Like similar, but so different too.
I love that. Okay, now I'm really excited
Yeah.
to hear your story.
Yeah. Do you want to hear about some more farm animals and severed limbs?
Do you have to ask?
Okay, so today I'm going to talk about cattle mutilations that happened in Eastern Oregon. The photos are pretty graphic, so I probably won't post those to social media. But content warning, the following will contain possible instances of animal cruelty and animal death. Large bulls drain completely of their blood. Body parts and organs that appear to have been surgically removed, all without any signs of struggle or external wounds. This is the scene that has created the decades-long mystery of cattle mutilation, with reports going back as early as the 1800s, both in Eastern Oregon and around the world. Anna King is a public radio reporter who reported on the story of mutilated cattle on an Eastern Oregon ranch in Grant County in 2019. She interviewed neighboring Harney County Sheriff's Deputy Dan Jenkins, who had been working on the cattle cases. Jenkins says, "The cases have been tough, with little evidence and no credible leads. But what is clear, it isn't bears, wolves, cougars, or poisonous plants, nor were the animals shot." 2 years prior, and 200 miles south, near New Princeton, Oregon, rancher Andy Davis also woke one morning to find her cows cut up and bloodless. After driving circles around the corpse, she and her husband never found any tracks or signs of the attacker. Back in the 80s, another rancher near Pendleton, Oregon, found one of his mother's cows mysteriously mutilated overnight. He remembers finding his cow laying dead with her udder removed by something razor sharp, with not one single drop of blood anywhere. When interviewed again in March of 2025, reporter Anna King had the following to say. "The cuts on these animals are precise. When they drop these animals on the ground, whoever or whatever is doing this, the animals don't struggle. Usually when a big animal goes down and it's still trying to breathe or live, they'll scramble around on the ground. They'll have hoof marks in the dust or in the dirt around them. And these animals just look like they fell over, and that's that. That's where they landed. The blood is gone, the tongues are gone, the sexual organs are often gone, and they're all really precise, surgical cuts. But what is really eerie is that no scavengers get on these animals to what we've seen. And that's like coyotes, buzzards, ravens, bugs, all kinds of stuff usually go after an animal as soon as it drops in the open country like this. But when we have come upon these animals, they just look pristine. A lot of times they just look like they're ready to go to the county fair. They have a shiny coat and they don't look like they've been touched, so it's just confounding. Nearby in southern Wasco County, the Johnson family also discovered a mutilated cow on their ranch in March of 2021. Son Clint found the black Angus cow at around 4 p.m. on March 28th when checking on their herd. When he approached, he noticed that a straight, surgical-like cut had been used to remove the cow's lips, tongue, and jaw, as well as the hide around its mouth. The left eye was also removed along with the socket surrounding it, all done with surgical precision. Rancher Doug Johnson insists that no animal did this. No flesh was torn and no body parts were ripped apart. An artery in the cow's neck had been cut and all of its blood had been drained. No blood was left in the animal and there was no blood found on the ground. He also later discovered that the cow's front leg, udder, reproduction organs, and rectum had also been all removed, all without any rips or tears, and with no obvious signs or struggle from the animal. Johnson also observed that coyotes, birds, and even his own dog refused to get near the animal. Overall, over a dozen bulls and cows had been reported mutilated over a few-year period in eastern Oregon. 5 bulls in Sylvie's Valley Ranch in Harney County in 2019, 2 near Fossil in Wheeler County in 2019 and 2020, 1 in Umatilla County in 2020, 1 in Morrow County in 2020, several in Crook County in 2021, and 1 in Wasco County in 2021. These mutilations tend to happen in very rural areas, as well as near or on public BLM land. The cause of the mutilations are all said to be unnatural and are all still under investigation. There are many similar reports across the U.S., ranging from the Midwest to the West in the 1970s. Similar reports have also come from South America, Australia, and Europe. These mutilations went on for some time and then seemed to mostly stop until around 2019. Some people have suggested that these mutilations are the result of secret government experiments, with government agencies using the cattle for biological or chemical testing. Others believe the animal's organs are being harvested and sold on the black market. Some think it's related to the work of satanic groups and the occult. However, many people speculate that the true culprit of these mutilations are otherworldly. When looking at reported UFO sightings in Oregon, Eastern Oregon barely makes a dent, with the majority of UFOs spotted in the metro areas. However, a number of UFO sightings were reported in the same areas as many of the cattle mutilations in the 1970s. Some believe that aliens are conducting medical experiments on the cows as a part of their research of life on Earth. Former engineer Chuck Zukowski specializes in mutilation cases. He is also a TV personality and a UFO paranormal researcher with a TV show called Alien Highway. So cast your own judgments. He says he keeps several go bags at hand, ready for any mysterious reports to investigate. His kit for animal mutilations includes an electromagnetic field meter, a Geiger counter, a motion-sensing camera, a night vision lens, jars of formaldehyde, and a camera with a 3,000 millimeter zoom optic that he says is great for watching UFOs. He says in his years of encountering these mutilations, he has encountered phenomena he can't scientifically explain, such as high EMF readings and atomic changes in nearby soil. He believes that a high-energy source, perhaps of otherworldly origin, is responsible for the mutilations. Today, the alien explanation is one of the most commonly held beliefs for these occurrences. However, in the 70s, it was also commonly believed that the shadowy government forces were to blame. Ranchers often reported seeing unmarked helicopters flying over the fields near the mutilation sites. Some reported being chased or shot at from the aircraft. Ranchers formed vigilante groups, tracked helicopter sightings, and armed up to defend themselves and their animals. This widespread panic resulted in one rancher shooting a utility helicopter that was just inspecting power lines. It caused the Bureau of Land Management specialists to temporarily stop doing aerial land surveys and the National Guard to fly helicopters 1,000 feet higher than normal. In New Mexico in 1979, a retired FBI agent named Kenneth Rommel led an inquiry called Operation Animal Mutilation. He spent a year looking into the reported mutilations in the area and concluded that the mutilations could all be explained by animal scavenging activity. Other animals poisoned themselves by eating poisonous plants or died from natural livestock diseases and then had their soft tissues, including cheeks, tongues, and genitals, eaten away after death. He also found instances of tooth marks on the animals, stating that the blood hadn't been drained, it had just pooled and coagulated in their lower extremities. Agricultural historian Michael Goldman theorizes that the reports of cattle mutilation in the 70s were most likely a way for independent and small-scale farmers to express their economic anxiety and resentment for the government. He says that unexplained cattle death has always been a part of ranching, and that cattle deaths have been no higher year to year when there are more reports of the unexplained mutilations. Because the mutilations are generally concentrated geographically and over time, Goldman says mass hysteria is much more likely an explanation than paranormal activity. Although this was all almost 50 years ago, and in other parts of the country, the mutilation stories are incredibly similar and could offer an explanation for what the ranchers in eastern Oregon are experiencing, even though the ranchers might say otherwise. What do you think?
I mean, I feel like it would be really hard to misinterpret, quote, surgical precision.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I'm thinking of like sharp angles and like clean, like incisions.
Looking at the photos is pretty crazy. Like, it does look like just seeing like the lips removed. Like, it doesn't look like they were eaten away by animals. It looks like they were like cut away.
Right, because when animals eat something out, it's like an organic shape, you know? Like, there's a difference between a straight surgical edge and an organic shape.
Yeah, they're not like taking their time to make sure they're only getting the lip.
Well, yeah, not to get gross, but an organic, like when something is eaten away organically, there's going to be like bites, you know, and it's going to be like uneven.
And there's going to be like stuff hanging, probably.
Yeah, and it also doesn't explain like why there's no bugs or buzzards or anything. Like, I feel like it's probably aliens.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're so fascinated with cows.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, cows are adorable.
Yeah.
But
I think it's really interesting that it happens almost exclusively near BLM lands and just like completely isolated places.
well, yeah, that's true. Do you think that Bigfoot could be
Maybe.
using busting out the old scalpel?
Perhaps, but I would wonder, I feel like Bigfoot probably wouldn't live in those areas because it's mostly like desert lands.
That's true. He do like the tree.
Yeah.
He do like a tree.
He wouldn't really have any places to hide.
Yeah. What would he
But
even do in the
maybe.
desert? He wouldn't do
Maybe.
anything.
Yeah. I don't know.
He'd get a tan.
Maybe he goes there for like,
Maybe that's his vacation
Maybe,
spot, and
yeah.
cow is like his vacation meal.
that's why it doesn't happen all the
Cow
time.
genitals.
You gotta treat yourself sometimes, you know?
You do. You do.
Bigfoot gets it.
He's like, girl dinner.
I think we solved it.
You're welcome, ranchers. No big deal.
I love that theory. But we went to trivia last Wednesday, and Molly grew up in Pendleton. So I asked her if she was familiar with these stories and what she thought. And I don't think that she was super familiar with them, but she was sure that it was like coyotes. But I don't know if I agree with that or believe in that.
If a coyote attacked a cow, it would look like a coyote attacked a cow. That's I mean, unless these people are just like lying. But if there's pictures.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do the alien route or the Bigfoot girl dinner route, I feel like you would have to assume that some fringe group of weirdos went to a ranch, picked up a cow, took it to a second location, killed it, surgically removed specific organs and pieces, drained the blood, put those pieces and blood somewhere else for whatever reason, and then took the cow back to where they found it and laid it pristinely.
All without like tire marks or footprints.
All without
or anything.
tire marks, footprints, noise, surveillance. I don't know. I'm like, if you think that that's more likely than aliens, then that's your call.
I think it's really interesting too that it happens in like clusters over a couple years, and then it doesn't happen again for like decades.
Yeah, are the aliens like, well, cow season,
Yeah, maybe.
gotta go get some cow rectums. What are they doing with it? Why do they want those?
I don't know. And perhaps I just didn't see any reports of this, but I don't think that there were any like reports from the East Coast. There's East Coast farmland.
Totally. There's totally East Coast farmland.
This seems to be more like desert area, more like isolated BLM land.
Well, that then does make me lean more towards some sort of interdimensional Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a desert Bigfoot.
Desert cryptid.
Yeah. And maybe that's what they eat.
Yeah.
I don't think it's coyotes, and it doesn't sound like there's anything natural about the way these things are being like surgically dismembered and then left in these pristine conditions to the point that they're not getting flies or maggots or, you know, scavengers coming and fucking with them.
When did that lady go to jail?
2015.
Couldn't have been her.
Damn it. No, she liked the pigs and the and the animals.
Yeah, that's true.
She wouldn't. If anything, she would have walked in and been like, "Oh, my pigs are eating this cow. I have to shoot the cow now." Damn it, they done it again. Oh my god. Oh man.
These are silly ones.
They're absurd situations. I call these types of cases, I think a lot of people would refer to them as high strangeness.
High strangeness.
Yeah.
Backcountry tales.
Yes. High strangeness, wherein these situations are just profoundly weird and fascinating. That's not to downplay the severity of, you know, these people losing their lives or these poor cows being butchered, but it's just fucking weird.
It is so weird.
It's just weird. And weird things will always be intriguing.
Agreed.
Speaking of intriguing weird things, we have a somewhat special episode coming up this holiday season for you.
So this episode that you're listening to is going to be released on December 1st, I believe. So happy December.
Happy December.
But our next episode, which will be released in 2 weeks from today that you're listening, is going to be a holiday episode, and we're thinking that we're going to do hometown stories, which are not Pacific Northwest related. We are both from the Midwest, but as a holiday special, we are going to throw it back to our Midwest
We're going to mix
roots.
it up.
Yep.
We're going to mix it up. We will hopefully be hearing from at least one more person with a story. If you have a hometown story that you'd like to share on the podcast, you can send us an email with that story. You can send us a recording of your voice telling the story, or you can come hang out with us while we record and tell your story live on the air.
Or we could also do Zoom if you don't live in the area, whatever, however you want to share.
Yeah.
We'd love
However
hear
you
from
want to do it.
And wherever you're from, your hometown could be anywhere.
Your hometown could be literally anywhere. It doesn't have to be Midwest, doesn't have to be Pacific Northwest. It can be anywhere. But we really want to hear your stories. Also, if you have a fun suggestion for a nice holiday-themed cocktail that I can make while we discuss our hometown stories, please also send that as well. Because I'd like to make something special for our hometown ghost stories episode.
Oh, and your stories can be true crime related or paranormal or high strangeness, anything.
I would love to hear about time slip or I would literally kill to hear about a doppelganger. If you have a doppelganger story, please, for the love of God, send it in. I would be so happy. That shit is actually, I would say that doppelgangers scare me more than aliens.
Really? Mm-hmm. Do you think they are aliens?
Oh, God. I hate that. Ew.
What do you think a doppelganger is? Also, what do you think has happened to these cattle in Eastern Oregon and around the world? Please let us know.
And do you think that Susan Monica really just had a couple of feisty, troublemaking pigs that she couldn't leave unattended?
They could open doors.
Do you think that she was wrongfully convicted and is serving time for a crime committed by her pigs?
Let us know.
Let us know. We're dying to know. The hot takes. And on that note, we will be signing off. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Sweet dreams.
This episode edited by 88.8.